This has been an amazing help for our clients as they transition from earning a salary to generating their own salary from their savings after that. I think we found the perfect way of managing your cash flow and bank account systems, and it's so simple, you're gonna wonder why you've never done this yourself. And I finally got to a point where enough of our firm's clients have experienced these issues before that I thought I have to make a video for everybody else. So imagine this scenario with me. You have your bank accounts, checking and savings, and that's where all the bill pay and budgeting tends to happen. And you've linked things like your mortgage payment or your cell phone bills to come straight out of your checking account. Now that account's also where you pay off your credit cards because maybe you like to charge everything on a credit card so that you can earn the points. Me too. Now, every once in a while, you come across a situation where you have to use your checking card. Maybe you need cash at an ATM or cash back at a registry. Maybe you're at a fair or a concert and they only take cash. Or maybe you're trying to get gas, or there's a subscription that gives you a discount if you link your checking account for payment. Cell phone plans usually do that. And of course, there are always the many software that people link their accounts to for tracking purposes like Quicken or Mint.com, variety of other softwares that have your information. So then one day you open your bank account and you notice your account's been compromised. What? How? Well, it's easier than ever for bad actors to get your information and then use it for their own good, especially if you're using your checking card like at ATMs or groceries or even online. And now that your account is compromised, you have to close the account, and there goes all of the autopays that you worked so hard to set up and make sure they worked properly. So your mortgage, your car payment, your cell phone bill, and many others now all have to be reestablished. And now you have a new account and your budgeting system is all thrown off, everything's in the same pile, and then it's not. So I've lost track of how many clients this has actually happened to, including myself. I think I've personally had to close 2, maybe even 3 checking accounts so far. In fact, one of the data compromises was when I was at the physical bank itself. Go figure. Having to reset all of that is a hassle, and you're probably gonna miss 1 or 2 and the frustration that comes with that. So there's a really simple system. I call it the 1-to-1 system. Not only does it help solve this problem, but it makes managing your cash flow and your budget so much easier than you've ever done before. This is a system I've recommended to clients for daily money management, and it's been absolutely bomb-proof both for budgeting and protecting against this headache. So here's how it works. 1-to-1 is a series of accounts and cards that creates layers, and these layers are what helps you budget much better and protect against these headaches. First, I'll walk you through the actual structure, and then stick with me because after I'll show you how this system works so well. Let's start with the first one savings account. This is where the bulk of your cash in the bank account is gonna live, and I'll show you how we use it in just a moment. The next is two checking accounts. Why 2? Because they work in tandem. One of them is called the spend checking, and the other is called the bills checking. A lot of banks will let you nickname accounts. That can be very helpful. I'll show you how all this comes together. Last is the other one credit card. Now, these 4 accounts work together in harmony beautifully. And let me show you how. My personal preference is that the 2 checking accounts and the 1 savings lives at the same bank. You can have this with other institutions, 2 banks if you want, but it just makes things simpler if it's all in the same place. So like I just said, one is called the spend checking, the other is called the bills checking. Savings is just your savings and your credit card is whatever you want. So here's how this works. First, we need to set up your direct deposits. You've probably already have this set up with your checking account where your paychecks from your agency comes directly to your checking, or your money from the TSP or IRA investment accounts just gets direct deposited into the spend checking account. Next, you're gonna have to do some homework and come up with your fixed monthly expenses. Why is this important? Because this number is gonna come into play here in just a second. So what do we mean by that? Things like your mortgage, or maybe it's rent, your car payment, subscriptions. These are all things that on a month-to-month basis are consistently the same, or at least very close. So like utilities, okay, I know those vary a little bit, but I think that they still count under your fixed expenses. Now we have to differentiate here. What's not included are things like discretionary spending, so groceries or dining out. Yes, you might have a similar grocery bill every single week or 2 weeks or however often you shop, but technically that's discretionary and it's not something we want to count in your fixed expense for this purpose. Now, let's say that number turns out to be $6,000 per month. That's what you need inside this bills checking account so that when all of your auto pays hit month to month and you don't even have to think about it, there's always enough money in there to pay off anything that you owe. So every time you get paid, let's say $10,000 goes into your spend account. I want you to set up an auto transfer, in this case bi-weekly, since that's when you're getting paid, or however frequently you receive your money. If you're retired, FERS pensions are only once a month, same with Social Security. So you might want to adjust this a little bit to your own needs. But notice that, let's just say it's twice a month. We're going to want to take the monthly figure, and just every time you get paid, you also put half of that figure inside your bills checking if you get paid twice a month. Obviously, if you get paid once a month, you got to do the full $6,000 all at once. And the key here is that you automate this. Your bank, you can set up an automatic transfer that as soon as the money hits, it immediately takes extra cash and throws it into that secondary account, your bills checking. So the 10 that was inside your spend checking account is now 7 because we took 3 out, in this case because it's bi-weekly, and put it into the bills account. And if you set up the automatic transfers, every month your bills account is going to have enough money to take care of the mortgage, take care of the car payment, all of the other subscriptions that are fixed costs, and you never have to worry about that. Now, you might already have this set up with your regular checking account, but work with me here. Just take a look at why this system might be better than what you have for reasons that I'll show you soon. And just to go on a tangent for a second, you might want to start off with a little bit of extra money inside this bill account because let's say there's, especially at the beginning, there's a bill that hits before the second payment comes in. So build in a little bit of buffer room. And in fact, there are always surprise expenses that creep up on us, like the water heater blows out or you have to replace a window or something like that. So maybe you decide you want to do a little bit more than the actual fixed amount. So you always have a little bit of a cushion in there. Surprises come, hey, the money is sitting there waiting for you. Okay, now what do we do with the remaining $7,000? Well, you can also set up a rule that says we don't need all of that. And if we're already maximizing our TSP, or if you're taking from the portfolio, maybe don't take as much unless it's RMDs and you have to take it. But if you're still working, then let's say the excess amount, you also have a rule that goes into savings. So the other $4,000 goes there, and now you're left with $3,000 for that bi-weekly payment inside your spend account. If you think that this very much looks like the envelope method, that's because it is, only in the 21st century, where we're using the technology that the banking systems provide to us to automate your life in such a way and make managing things super easy. Now, why is this helpful? Well, the first thing is for cash flow management purposes, it's kind of hard to see the money and not spend the money. So if you're really trying to stay within a $3,000 every couple of week budget, because then you're getting paid and the other $4,000 you really want to save, by doing this, it makes it harder to see the cash that you don't want to spend because you need it for your bills and the cash that you don't want to spend because you want to save it. So if you leave only the amount that you want to be able to spend within that pay period, then you can look at that and say, okay, I know how much is left. Now, if you are using a credit card, that's where the fourth account comes in here, then this is also where you're going to make the credit card payments from, okay? Now, you can self-manage this and just determine, okay, every couple of weeks I might pay off my credit card again, and I know that that bill can't be more than $3,000 because otherwise I overspent. Now, I'm going to back this up just a little bit. And I often get the question, Tiago, why not just do everything in a single checking account? Well, this goes back to the first problem that we mentioned. Remember when account compromises occur regularly, and if you think it's not going to happen to you, just wait. I'm sure that day will come. Imagine having to reset up all of those things again. I bet many of you have gone through that. So if all of your auto pays belong in the bills account, and anywhere you spend using a checking account comes from this spend checking account, well, you'll note that the only thing that spend checking account is responsible for is receiving your direct deposit. And you can use the check card if you need to get cash or pay for something via a debit card. And you also can pay your credit card off with it. And to keep your deposits even safe from that, you could set up your auto deposits. Let me do this in green because we got a lot of scribbling going on in here. You can do the deposits straight to the bills account and then only send to the checking what you think you want to spend for that pay period. That way it's a revolving, almost like a shell account for you to just use to spend on your day-to-day, and then of course pay off your credit card. So if you end up having that account compromised because you had a check card that was lost or stolen or the data got somehow compromised, blowing up this account doesn't blow up any of your auto pays except for maybe the direct deposit if you already had that there. So reestablishing a brand new checking account to go in its place on top. Okay. That's supposed to be a brand new checking account right there for you. Much easier to deal with now. All of the system that you have for managing your money is already in place. And whatever money you lost from the compromise, hey, the bank takes care of it and you get your money back. So it protects you from the hassle of having to redo your accounts. It helps you to see your money much more regularly and what you have left to spend in that pay period, which you might not think is such a big deal, but let me let you in on a secret. Budgeting can't stop, even in retirement. The fact is, a lot of people work their way up to rather high salaries. That's especially true for our clients, where they get to a point in their lives where there's so much income, especially right before retirement, that they don't really need to think about the budget day to day. Every time they have to go pay the credit card, whatever decisions they've made for those last couple of weeks, there's just enough cash flow to pay for it. You know what? That's a really great position to be in, and you're very lucky to have a position like that. The problem is, what happens when that income goes away? The actual amount of money that you've saved for retirement in your allowable budget for retirement may be different than the amount of income that you leave service earning, especially if you're a very high earner. So you have to do the financial planning to understand, what is my retirement budget? How much can I actually spend safely for the long term of my plan? And this is a real good way to start learning how to get in front of that cash flow and be able to learn those skills and really refine them before you get to retirement, so that it's not such a hard thing for you to do. Because there's enough changes that come with separating from service and starting a retirement plan. You don't want one extra thing to have to worry about when really it feels like the rug has been ripped out from under you. This system of automated transfers always makes sure that you have enough money in your bills account to take care of any of your fixed expenses. You have enough money in your spend account to keep you on track for budgeting. And hey, if you're still working, maybe you're even doing some extra savings. This has been an amazing help for our clients as they transition from earning a salary to generating their own salary from their savings after that. You go from having a paycheck every 2 weeks to a first pension that kicks in, then you get Social Security and you have portfolio money coming from here. And it feels like there's so many moving parts. So if you're already on top of the budgeting, it's gonna make things that much smoother. So if you're not subscribed yet, now's your chance to get more practical tips like this on how to be smarter with your money and manage things more easily for retirement. And if you wanna know how to manage your TSP in retirement and how to pick those investments, click this video on the screen here. And until next time, stay wise and stay wealthy.